Hi guys, Chox here, and welcome back to Bear Family Farms. Let's have a look at the front yard permaculture fairy garden here. It is Monday, July 15th. We've got some things in bloom, things have grown, so let's go have a look. So first off, let's have a look at the strawberries. They are doing lovely. They're gonna have a permanent home here somewhere. But I had to pull them up from the ants, so we'll find a place to put them. And they're just hanging out in the apple tree. Lots of little drops. Oops. But the apples are looking lovely. Hopefully they'll be nice this year. Hopefully. So here's the fairy garden. Ooh, looking lovely. Let's start off with these tomatoes in a bag. This silly little grow bag of tomatoes is very, very moist, but they're not doing a lot of growing. Like, maybe I need to do some thinning out, but not a lot of growing going on in here. Really great roots though, look at that. So yeah, we've got a little bit in each one. It gets good light. It's just hanging out, being slow. Then this whole section here, I only have a couple of the little columbine left that are in bloom, but it sure did look pretty with the white and the purple. We'll get to over there. Hummingbirds have been coming around. It's so nice when they blip, blip, blip. So I did take this big black thing from the dollar store and filled it with dirt, and I did plant some flowers in here. Oh, these flowers, the nasturtiums, I think marigolds, they're really giving me a time. I have not had anything come up. Lots of these little maple saplings though. This is from the stupid helicopters off the trees. And then these, oh, look, there's a tomato there. These are spaghetti squash or acorn squash. And then these on this side are spaghetti squash or acorn squash. So I planted both because we were a little late in the other side, and we'll just see how this goes. So I'm plucking and weeding as I go. I should have done that first. So it's going to be beautiful, and I can trellis it out anywhere. I moved the lantern. We've got birds coming to peck at these seeds here and eat the bugs, and this is all good. I really like integrating the fruit vegetables with flowers, because then we get good pollination from the bees coming around. So here I have a chunk of sod that is actually growing dill. I thought I'm putting it in here because everybody says dill it's easy to grow, and I've never had dill here. It hasn't grown for me, but here it is in a chunk of sod. Oh, it smells so good. And then this is summer savory, so nice little herbs that we have going on in the front. And I do clip these down. I save them, I use them. Yeah, I grow for the season. Oh my goodness, the lily garden is looking so pretty. Now some of these have been seeds. I've just, like, when I first started here, I dug them in and then I shook some of the seed pods out. And I have added a couple of others just for some color. I can't believe how tall that one is. Yeah. And all the different flower heads that are coming up on them this year are absolutely gorgeous. And you know what? I love looking at these. You gotta have some pretty in there too. You gotta have the color. So we've had a couple of them open. Some nice beautiful yellow ones. And then the orange ones are my favorites. So yes, the lily garden is looking lovely. I've trimmed back a lot of the stump. A lot of those, that's an apple tree in there. So I've trimmed that back too because it doesn't produce fruit for me, and it was bulging out and taking up a lot of room. I had a household spider plant out. These guys do really good, and JT took some runners off it last year, and they're in the basement garden in the dungeon, and he took the runners and just put them in a trough. So those runners that you see on his video come from this plant. And a side note, we have a new jay coming around, like a blue jay or a stellar jay. Since I've moved the seeds to out here. So that is a good thing. That's attracted another type of bird to the yard. Here we go. Let's have a look at the frontline gojis. We had almost given up hope on these guys, but here they are, looking good. We're remulching them. We've dug them nice and deep. Here's another one. Fantastic specimen there. This other goji is looking just fantastic as well. Let's have a look at this hawthorn. Okay, so no big growth up here at the top. What I do have is some baby growth down here. So that's good. And then JT threw some tomatoes in here as well. I feel like we're tomato lacking this year, so we've just been plunking them everywhere. And then my lovely lilac looking all strong and beautiful. And then the last one in this row are the Saskatoons. We've got some really nasty looking ones on here, but this rain, they're starting to look a little more full. They, some of them are ripening and getting ready to eat. The birds have been in here, but because of our little drought session at the beginning, there's a lot of dried fruit still on this bush here. But then again, there's a lot of nice juicy looking berries on there. Okay, so in this strip here, this is where I'm doing the wildflower experiment, which is and isn't working. I've got this great big huge piece of wood in here. I absolutely love it. It reminds me of driftwood, so I'm kind of going with that theme now because it's a little different. But that big plant is out of a wildflower packet. These guys here out of the wildflower packet for bees and butterflies. And then this is out of the wildflower packet. And then we had that big row, that strip of, from the dollar store, that, I don't know, what do you call it? Unroll it, roll it. So like there's some ones in here that don't look like weeds, but there's a lot in here that does. And then, hey ants, you're not supposed to be around my tomatoes. And then we did plant some tomatoes up in here too. There's a little extra room with this wildflower, oh, sunflower, wildflower experiment going on up here, and I don't want it to go to waste. So we also have a couple little tomatoes here and there. So integrating the vegetables with the flowers again, trying to get good pollination and using up space that we have. And also I put this big wood in here to try to keep the neighborhood cats out of my garden, because I don't want them really scratching around, so I wanted to make it inconvenient for them. And so far, just actually being on top of it and yelling at the cats, just be like, hey cat, get out of my garden, it seems to be working. So we've got the 3 planters here. This is red lettuce, and normally I would be weeding this out, but we've decided we're gonna grow these out and give them to the chickens. I do come out and I do the microgreens for us for salads, but I think this is, gonna become chicken food. And then this is salad mix again. It bolted and went to seed, so we decided to, this is like our brainstorm idea about doing chicken boxes, because then we can just set our seeds in the boxes and try to get them on like a rotation schedule. This is spinach, it's gone to seed. I'm sure the chicks will love it. Letting it go to the seed a little bit more to drop the seed in there so it can be a perpetual box. The yarrow is looking lovely. I've got bees all over it all the time. And I love how it's filling in. It's kind of edging around. Here in the echinacea department, we have no echinacea. So I'm going to definitely have to try something else because I really want it there. The flax is looking really, really good. It looks like they're starting to form their flower heads. Flax is a beautiful flower that attracts the bees, but it also regenerates itself. So as the season goes on, I'll show you This is the same flax. I bought it in a grocery store, organic flaxseed, and I sprinkled it in there, and it is growing. And with this, you just run your fingers up the spine of the plant at the end of the season, and you gather your flax seeds in your hand, and they'll either reseed, leave them for the birds. You can gather them to use them for stuff in the house, for your baking, for grinding, for adding to things, for crackers. Like, flax is absolutely fantastic. And so it just keeps reproducing itself. I love flax. It's so fantastic. I don't know how many times I can say that. Here is where the chamomile is supposed to be, because I love chamomile tea, but it has not sprung up at all for me. So again, next year I'm going to have to try something new. And then all the columbine is going to seed. We're leaving that to go to seed. The birds in the winter, I leave it for them because their snow comes up really high. So these tall sprigs of like columbine seeds, they stay until next spring. And then I cut them down, shake them in there, and give it a go. And in these 2 buckets here, I have sprinkled some more salad fixings in there for the chickens. They were just like extra boxes from the season. So you got a beautiful dandelion growing in them right now. And then this one I've sprinkled with salad mix. That's what it is. So once that starts sprouting, I'll just throw it in their coop. I've had a couple of little birds on here pecking at it so far. The hosta's looking beautiful, so it's still in a mobile situation in case I need to move it. And yeah, that just leaves our lawn garden. All right, in our lawn garden, yay! I did a garden craft. There was wax in there so that it shines like a little lamp, but I don't think it's gonna stay on there. I'm gonna have to figure out a different way of hooking that up. The lilac here is still looking good. I did trim it, but it's solid, like it's not giving up. Same with the lily of the valley. And these are the gladioli that are coming up. See those? They don't have flowers or anything yet, but I am over the moon that it is sprouting. And then look, I've got iris flowers that are forming here. Yay, birds and bees will be happy. I've also added some driftwood to this one just for some, I like the way it's looking. And really, it reminds me of the ocean. I miss the ocean, I miss the lake. But it's like this, when the trees drop their branches or whatever, and it gets weathered, and the bark falls off, and then it gets hit by the rains and the suns, it looks like driftwood. So just repurposing that in the garden. This iris is going to get flowers on it as well. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Now, I don't really see anything popping up from the freesias. And like I said, I think maybe I left them too dry. Oh, it's a lily of the valley. And then nothing here in the Dutch iris. So I think oh, there's one. But I don't know if that is even viable anymore. But like I said, I think I left them too long. So they got a little dry, and I mean, that's all right, that's my own fault. But the highlight of this garden is this one right here. Look at this. I have poppy seed or poppy heads coming out. Now JT grew that in the arrow garden upstairs. He got it started for me. And I did plant poppy seeds down here, but nothing sprouted. So yay. And also my neighbors down the way, they're doing a whole thing to their front garden as well. And they've got big, beautiful poppies there. So like these will grow quite tall. I may actually have to dig this out and make it a poppy section because they're so beautiful. And then this is a mango seed I found in the bottom of the fridge. So I just brought it out, put it in the sunlight, and see if it will do anything at all. And the peony is still standing nice and tall. No flowers this year from this, but it's a transplant. We transplanted it from by the Pier Garden. So rather than trashing it, it just got transplanted. And there is a whole ton of lily of the valley that came up with it as well. So it has its company down there. And I absolutely love the way it looks. All right, so there we go. A nice fairy garden update. Our permaculture is coming along nicely. Bees and birds and plants and flowers and vegetables. We all need each other. All right, you guys, that's it for me for today. Thank you so much for having a look around the fairy garden with me, having a look around the Bear Family Farms channel. Please click one of these boxes hanging out around my head and it'll take you to a YouTube recommended playlist or the YouTube recommended video or the fairy garden playlist. Also, please click that little bell and subscribe button. That way you know when we upload, and yeah, you'll see how the garden's coming along. All right, get outside, happy gardening. Thanks for hanging out here, and I'll see you next time on the channel. Bye.